In this video, I want to take a look at the best 3-4s in women's college basketball. And in my opinion, that is Alissa Pili from Utah, Aaliyah Edwards, UConn, and Angel Reese from LSU. And what do you know? They are all eligible for the WNBA draft in 2024. Although Reese and Edwards have options for a fifth COVID year to go back to college if they would like. It's ironic that the WNBA draft lottery took place between the South Carolina and Utah game and the UConn UNC game, as both Pili and Edwards put on a show that would have had scouts drooling. Now, first, let's start with Pili, as that was the first game on the docket prior to the lottery, and she just put on an offensive show. So it was almost comical. It was like next man up. Nobody could do anything with her. I know Cardoso got in early foul trouble, but early on, she took out Cardoso she took an outside three-pointer, and then she took Cardoso down low. She could take her inside or outside, and then it was like next man up, so they put Watkins on her. And personally, I thought Watkins did the best job out of anybody, but then she got in a bit of foul trouble. Well, everybody got in foul trouble. The refs were atrocious in this game, and it went both ways. Like, it seemed like they had a massive desire to call moving picks and offensive screens. Like, they were doing it on dribble handoffs and everything. It was just ridiculous. And it went both ways, no doubt. So, and then for a while, they tried to put, who else? They put Chloe Kitts on her. She took Chloe Kitts to the hole and got the and one, which was a bit soft, but still, just nobody could do anything. By the third quarter, they had, after the third quarter, they had Dawn Staley in the interview, and she's like, we're just going to outscore Utah. That's the plan. We can't do anything with her. And that's an honest, got to give it to Staley. It was an honest assessment because they had no way of stopping her.
We just got to win the game at this point. We got to you got to outscore them at this point because we cannot stop her.
Now, prior to the game, like, her stock's risen after this game, obviously, but prior to that, the question's been, can she play defense? What about her height? Will her height translate to the next level? Will she be able to get her shot off and everything? And, as Lobo pointed out during the game, somebody's going to have to stop her as well. And she is a deadly combination because she shoots about 40% from the three-point line. So you have to go out and guard her. And then when you go out, she can dribble past people and take it hard to the hole. As well, if you try to put a small on her, she just posts them up. And you can just see how strong she is in her lower body. Even the bigs can't handle her. So she's going to be able to hold her ground versus everybody. Now, in this game, she was ridiculously hot. I mean, she went 15 for 23 and 3 from 6 from three-point line for 37 points. So she's not always going to be that hot. And at the end, sort of when it got tight in the fourth quarter, Cardoso, she did get a block on her. And, she will have, matchup issues at time. But overall, she's just so intriguing because if you could shoot that well, and they were talking during the game, the announcers, they were like, there's no comp for her in the WNBA. And I know it's sacrilege and you're not supposed to do it, but when I see her, I just automatically, I go to Charles Barkley. She's like the woman's Charles Barkley, in my opinion, except she shoots better than Chuck did. As well, her hands are bigger. Like, Chuck could never palm the ball, where she has really big hands for a woman and seems to be able to control the ball almost with one hand. It's ridiculous. And I just think, her stock obviously rose over the weekend. They were talking, on some of the mock drafts. I've seen her go up to number 10. The one that's really, the scouts love and everybody loves is the next one that played after the lottery, which is Aaliyah Edwards. Now, she is what you would draw up in a power forward, if you like, or a number 4, because she has the inside-outside game. She can post people up as well. She's long, so she's 6'3", and can block shots and just everywhere. And she's perfect. And in the third quarter, she didn't have the greatest game. I think she went for 16. But in the third quarter, she put on a show, or an offensive clinic. First she drives left to show everybody, I can go with my left hand if you wanted to know. Then she drives right, and then right after that, she takes a little jumper, just sort of showing off to everybody that she has the full game. The one thing that she doesn't have in comparison to Pili is she doesn't take 3-pointers. It's not in her game. She usually does her work from the elbow, but she's damn good. She's well coached. She went to UConn, and she will be a lottery pick, I would suggest. I think she would probably be the number 4 pick if it depends on who's going to come out, but I think she would go after Brink and be the first big or the second big off the board after Cameron Brink. Now, the last one is Angel Reese, who did not play in the Hall of Fame game, but she is the other notable power forward. And essentially, I think in most mock drafts, she's usually ahead of Pili, but behind Aaliyah Edwards. And basically, this, and everybody knows this, but essentially, she rebounds and plays defense like a monster. But the question is, can she shoot from outside? Will she ever have a shot? And is she going to be limited offensively? And when she goes around more athletic players in the WNBA, what is her future looking like? I did a video earlier in the year about the matchup of South Carolina versus LSU. And I just looked at Reese struggles against size, and who doesn't? But she doesn't really have a really counter to that. So if Aaliyah Boston at the time was on her, or if it's Cardoso, she just can't, put pressure on them with the outside shot. They almost dare her to shoot, where obviously if she had an outside shot, then they'd have to come out and then she could use her speed to get by them, versus usually they just hang back and wait for her to come to them. And she's so athletic, and the one thing she does really well is she takes the awkward sort of layup shot really well, and she can go left and right as well. And she has this move where she tends to bump people out of the way to get her shot off. And like I said, she's a monster on the board. There's no doubt with that. Obviously, it seems like this season she has struggled with notoriety and fame a bit. Overall, from what I've seen on the tapes last year, she seems like a good teammate. She doesn't seem to pout a lot on the bench or anything like that. Her teammates seem to like her. There is a bit of a tension there between her and Mulkey, and I think that's basically she knows she needs to prepare herself for the next level, and some of that is taking shots from the outside. So in that game, she got pulled. In the game that she got pulled against Kent State, one of her initial crimes was taking like a 3-pointer early on, and that's a shot she needs to take, or sort of develop to take, or get the freedom to take. That was one of the reasons I know Anissa Morrow went to LSU, and it's worked out well, but if where she was going to be wasn't an issue, I thought the best place for her to go might have been Utah, because I think Utah is doing a good job of developing their players, or doing a great job of developing Pili for the next level. They talked about this during the game, that their coach, Lynn Roberts, talked to her. This is what we need to do next. You need to have a better handle for the next level, and we really need to improve your face-up game and make your 3-pointers even better. And that's what they've done. And frankly, that's what Morrow needs to do, because she's sort of like an undersized 4 as well that really needs to have an outside game. And it seems like at Utah, all they do is just drill in shooting, and either you're at the hole getting a basket or you're taking a 3-pointer, one of the two, which I think would have been good for Morrow. Anyway, I've gone off the subject a bit, but that's the thing with Reese. And then overall, in terms of drafting these players, I guess I need to go on the record and say, so I think Edwards will go first, and that's fine. I think the second player to go will be Pili, because I think she just has such huge upside. And then the third one would be Angel Reese. I'm not sure if she will go in the first round or not. And it just depends on who comes out and who doesn't come out. And I think whoever takes Pili, it's boom or bust. If she can score the way she does, and I think she could be a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams in the WNBA. So I think she's a no-brainer. Seeing what the hit rate is for draft picks making the team, it has to be a team that's willing to work with what her skills are and accept it and say, yeah, we know you're a bit limited maybe on defense, and we'll have to protect you a bit and do this, this, and this. But man, if we sort of set you up well, then we have somebody that's just a nightmare for the other teams to match up against, which is nice to have. As I said, Edwards would be first. She's just a no-brainer. She's going to be a solid player. She's well-drilled, well-schooled. She looks the part, and she will have a solid career. And then the last one, Angel Reese, I think she would be the last one. At this stage, I mean, she is Draymond Green, basically. She's going to play defense and rebound and do everything right, can handle the ball a little bit and pass a little bit. But the big question is her limitation. Will she develop a shot? If she develops a shot, then she can be that next level type player that has it all. I just don't know if that's really going to happen, to be determined. The other thing with Reese is how polarizing is she going to be? Is she going to continue to have sort of be public incidents and, sort of calling out things? You just don't need that. Teams don't want that from just a journeyman type player. If you're a superstar, you can do that all you want and teams will tolerate it. Take a look at Liz Cambage. But if you are not a superstar, then teams just want you to shut up and do your job. And if you can't do that, they'll just get somebody else in that will do that. So it'll be interesting to see if she has any more incidents or tries to tone it down for the rest of the season. Anyway, your thoughts below. You're poised, and I imagine this will be polarizing. Who would you be drafting, or who do you have 1, 2, and 3 in your, I guess, in terms of the best 4? Do you have Pili number 1 or Edwards number 1? Who's your 2 and who's your 3? Thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you next time.